Yes. So let's dive into the today's session. Let me share my screen. And this is the beauty of these brands and how they are changing their strategies time to time is what we really want to discuss. Especially, what sort of strategies that they are adapting time to time to keep in the market. Yeah. And also we discuss in a life cycle of a product, there are mainly one, two, three, four stages, right? So we discussed, there is a pre-introductory stages, with that it's about, five stages. However, predominantly what consumers can see is about four stages. The stage number one, introductory stage, and then growth stage, and we have maturity stage and the declining stage, right? Some of the brands which have come to the declining stage, then again it goes up, right? Like the growth stage, right? So the brands which have been there for some time, so those brands time to time they have changed the shape of the life cycle. They have that ability, right? They have that ability. They can change the shape of the life cycle. Yeah. So that is why some of the brands they do relaunches, repositioning, rebranding, a lot of stuff time to time because they want to keep with the pace, change in environment, change in consumer behaviors, right? So as I explained, during each of these stage, there are some actions that marketeers are doing, right? You have to take actions. That is why this product life cycle is there, right? You can't just do the same thing over and over again during each stage and expect a different result, which is not happening, right? Okay. So what are things which are mostly prevalent in the introductory stage, right? So if you take this introductory stage, it's very difficult for you to get more customers, right? Introductory stage, the awareness is low, and also people have not tried your product, and there is a fear factor, especially in consumers when they try a product, right? So there's a high chance of failing in introductory stage. Like if you take in the world, there are a lot of innovations coming to the market every year. Out of those innovations, good 70 to 80% of innovations fail. Yeah. Yes, we need innovations. Yes, people do always spend money and time on research and development. And there is a great emphasis from the marketing team in an organization to develop new products. However, good 70 to 80% of products, brands fail at the introductory stage. Yeah. Now you are going to tell me why there is a such high failure rate. What do you think? Why there is a huge failure rate when it comes to innovations? What could have been the reasons? There are a lot of brands in the world, at the introductory stage itself, so they fail. Yeah, of course, if you take consumers, they anyhow, they are fulfilling their needs, right? So currently, there are products, brands which are helping them to, meet their needs, right? And why a new brand? Why should they, try another one? Yeah. So their expectations have not changed, right? So therefore, a new product, new brand, it's going to be very, very difficult for them to attract the customers who are already brand loyal to a different brand. Yeah, very good. What else? It could be like, a gap in understanding consumer requirement, right? If like, you have not done adequate research, yeah, if you are making decisions based on intuition, based on some old informations, right? So that will definitely have an impact on the consumer decision, right? You have to always be, mindful and also make decisions based on correct information, right? So today, the information that you gathered yesterday would be obsolete. The information you gathered yesterday would be obsolete, like no more value. You need real-time information. People are changing that fast. Yeah. And during the introductory stage, like little competition, right? Um, yeah. What do you mean by this? Why there is a little competition during the initial stage, introductory stage? The reason is like, when you introduce a new product, either you introduce a new product to the existing market based on your strategy. If you can remember, we discussed a strategy called penetration strategy. Existing product, existing market, right? So if you come up with an existing product, right, to the same market, then what will happen? It has a huge competition. The same market, there's a bit, right? But when you come up with a new product to the existing market, that is a product development, right? Product development. Meaning you have done some changes to the existing product. There are some changes which probably take in some of the insights that you generated. You have done some changes, right? For example, like, for we'll say carbonated soft drink, the market is there, existing market. You are coming up with a new carbonated soft drinks, purely detoxing, right? It has the health value. It has the ability to detox you, right? It's a completely a different product. Yeah. So when you come with that product introduced to the market, there is no any other player who has a similar kind of product. There is less competition, but initial period only. And during the introductory period only, you will get this less competition because of the innovations that you have, differentiation that you have. However, it's a competitive environment, competitive market, competitive world. You have to always expect like, competition to follow you. Yeah. So on a temporary basis, you will definitely have a competitive advantage, but in the long run, you will not have that. Frequent product modifications, like in during the introductory period, you do certain modifications frequently. Yeah, till you get things like established, sorted, and until you get like your consumers satisfied with your offering. Yeah, you have to do certain modifications, right? So this is where R&D team is closely monitoring during the introductory period, like how consumers are behaving, what are the feedback, so they go talk to consumers, they review the kind of feedback they give on social media or digital marketing platforms, like so these are the things that you have to do during the introductory period, because you are expected to do some modifications. Limited distributions, meaning like if you want to make the product available, you will not be able to go to all number of shops, right? It is not going to be a mass distributions, it will be a limited number of outlets where they will accept your offer, right? And also for you to, go to more number of outlets, the brand or the product is not generating enough turnover, right? For you to go to that many number of outlets. So therefore, you will have a limited distribution during the introductory period. High marketing and production cost. Yes, marketing cost is going to be very high because you don't, you know, consumers don't know about you and they don't know about your offerings. Like you have to shout out loud. You don't do that, like, people don't get it. Market is already cluttered, right? Uh, People are already bombarded with a lot of informations, advertisements, so on and so forth every day. Imagine, like, you go advertise, right? If you don't have any clutter breaking advertisements, oh my God, it's going to be very tough for you, right? So in that case, you have to, keep on advertising, until you get some sort of awareness to your brand. So this is, adding more pressure on your P&L. Yeah, so there will be a very high cost in terms of marketing and also the production cost. Because so you don't have the scale advantage and time you are taking to produce the product is also a bit lengthy. You are analyzing things, you are not taking risks, right? So all those things are there, adding additional cost, additional burdens to your production cost, right? Promotions focus on awareness and information. So you need to do more promotions, right? Especially targeting the awareness. And also you have to pass informations about your product, about your brand and to consumers, right? You have to make them more knowledgeable. Then only they will, at least think about trying out your product. Intensive personal selling to channels, like if your channel partner is not going to be that easy for you to get your product listed, or give them sort of influence, like for them to make a decisions on purchasing your product, right? It's going to be right, huge or a uphill task, right? Intensive personal selling is required. You have to go convince, like, do demonstrations and come up with different, proposals to your channel partners. Yeah, so not that easy. Yeah. During this stage, right, we'll discuss what are the marketing actions based on the piece what you are going to take. So during the sessions we'll discuss that as well. Moving to growth stage, this is where you will get the increase of sales, right? Introductory stage, some brands products, like, fail, then they'll have to go back to the drawing board, discuss, evaluate where you went wrong, what are the consumer point of views, like, what are the consumer feedback, and all those things you'll have to evaluate. Yeah. Once it is done, then you have to think about reintroducing your brand to the market. Yeah, there are companies who have done it. Yeah. But once you pass that introductory stage, it's a growth where, like, consumers have the confidence. Consumer franchise is there for you. The confidence level is moving up. In that case, like, you are generating more turnover. Yeah. Even if you don't want to do more advertising during that period, because consumers are creating that word of mouth for you. You will get that word of mouth or the PR, the free PR through social media, because they start talking about it. They start, like, posting about your product. They start, associating your products, right? This is what you need to do, like, during the growth stage. Then entrance of company. So this is the stage where now competitors have also seen the threat, right? And also seen the opportunity. Because the industry is growing, you are growing like huge profit margin for you, then the competitors almost rather always follow you, right? They don't they don't let you to gain a super profit in a competitive market. Yeah, they will follow you. So there will be a lot of competitor entrants, right? Market consolidation. So that means market is getting established. New product, more consumers, right? More volume, market is getting established. Yeah, so you are safe. You have come to the safe zone. Yeah, and then healthy profit, right? You started uh, generating healthy profit because your investment is going to be low, especially on things like uh, promotions. Your investment is going to be low, so then you will have a sort of healthy profit. Yeah. Um, Promotions emphasis brands ads like you are now, since market is consolidated, established, so you are thinking about how you are going to build the brand, build that connections emotionally with the consumer is what you are targeting. uh, your goal is now, since you are growing, goal is wide distributions. You have the say in your brand. Your brand is stronger. It has a sort of compelling story for your channel partners. Then you can think about increasing your distributions, right? Prices normally fall. Yeah. Introductory stage price could be high or low, right? But so once it's consolidated, established, like so you will see the price is settling down, right? Development costs are recovered. During that period, whatever the cost that you incurred during the development stage, and also the cost that you incurred for the modifications of the products is now getting recovered, right? So this is during the growth stage. Yeah? But this is the stage that we will have to manage properly also. If you invest too much during the growth stage, thinking that you will be able to further grow the business, then you will not earn money, profit. Will not be able to earn profit because you are spending, right? You don't know exactly at which stage things are going to come to the decline stage, right? It could happen overnight, could happen immediately. Yeah. So you need to therefore always think about like how much I should, which stage that I am in, how much I should invest, right? So this is a very strategic decision you need to make during this introductory period. Second, how are you going to block competition? Yeah, can't just allow competitions to come in and play and gain market share because you created that market and you are just allowing your competitions to come and gain from the market that you have already spent money, right, for that market development. Why do you want others to come and enjoy that, right? So therefore, you need to have like your strategies, shielding strategy, where you are not allowing them to come and enjoy that easily. Okay. All right. So moving on to the maturity stage. Maturity stage. Tell me, like, what are the features, what are the characteristics of a brand or a product which have come to a maturity stage? What are the features? So one could be like, you are seeing less number of new users getting added, right? Seeing less number of users, new users getting added. meaning slowly you are coming to the maturity stage. So any product or any action has a diminishing return, right? Any action has a diminishing. The more you spend in a certain stage, you will get more. But if you spend continuously same amount, your return would come down. That is what we call diminishing return, right? Even for us, same thing. Like things like your especially like your investment versus the results that you are generating is slowly coming down. Okay, this stage, maturity stage, you see like less number of new entrants, less number of new entrants. You understand? This is the maturity stage where most of the time, like you won't get newcomers, right? Competitors also know, like uh, no point of going and playing in this category or in this industry because it's not generating profit now. Yeah. So those are some of the features, right? Uh, Decline in sales growth, yes. Saturated markets, extended product lines, stylistic product changes, heavy promotions to dealers and consumers, marginal competitors drop out, right? Prices and profit fall, niche market emerge, right? So we'll explain these actions in a due course, right? Then we'll come to the declining stage where, like, after some time, slowly but surely, your consumers are uh, switching, right? This has happened to Nokia. Consumers are switching. Your sales turnover is coming down, right? And there are no newcomers, right? And your inventories are piling up. What do you mean by your inventories? Your inventories are, you have a prediction, market prediction, but slowly consumers are going down. Your products are not being sold, right? Then your inventories are basically piling up, going up and up, right? So this has happened to many players. This happened to, like many players in the past. Nokia is one of a good examples, right? Um, so during this period, you have to be very smart. You have to be very smart, right? So let's discuss what actions that you should take during each of these, stages, right? Some of the things are there here, right? But so let's go one round, like you can contribute here. During the introductory stage, right? What are the actions we as marketers should take? Product strategy, distribution strategy, some of the things are here. So if you take the product strategy, during the introductory stage, you should not give many different varieties, right? It's maybe few limited models only, right? Don't come up with a huge range, right? Which is not the right strategy because first you will have to get yourself established, right? Um, and do some modifications, frequent changes, right? Modifications during the products, introductory stage. What else we can do during the product, rather introductory stage to your product? What else you can do? What else? You are in that introductory stage, the product strategy. Yes, you have limited models. You are changing frequently. What else you could do? Okay, so this is the stage where you have to do a lot of, augmentation, right? Meaning like, you are giving more reasons for consumers to buy. You are giving more reasons for consumers to buy. Augmentations. If you can remember, like, so we augmented product, what we discussed, right? It's the same thing, like, so add after sales service, right? Then you can think about, like, giving delivery, the payment methods, so on and there are a lot of things that you can consider, right? Then comes the place strategy, distribution strategy, right? During the introductory, limited wholesale, retail distributors, right? So we discussed that. In terms of promo P, you need to invest more, right? You have to invest more, especially to, drive more awareness, right? You have to stimulate demand, right? You have to do sampling, a lot of sampling. If you are in, we'll say, in a FMCG market, right? You have to do more trial generating activities. Because new product, people will not, just buy your product, but you can, give them some free samples. Yeah, give them free samples. Then they can, try it out. If they like the product, they will stick to it. Yeah. Pricing, higher prices, right? Depending on your strategy, but mostly higher prices because one is like, so there will be some innovators which we are going to learn. People, they always think about buying new products, right? They don't care about the price. From the innovators, you can generate a profit, right? Mostly like, they set a higher price, like, in mobile phone industry, like, you would have, had that experience, like, always a higher price. Then comes the growth, right? So some of the things are spelled out here, like, during the growth stage, more models, add new things, right? Changes will be there. Distributions, you'll have to go to more number of dealers, more channel partners, right? There will be long-term relationship, right? So all those things are there, especially during the uh, growth stage, right? Then if you take promotions, aggressive ads stimulate demand. So this is where you have to aggressively, drive your promo peak, right? And get more number of people, right? And generate word of mouth, right? Generate, like, more trials, like, during the growth stage, right? Then pricing strategy. Yes, of course, all as results of competition. Competition is coming. You have to now have a strategy to block the competition, right? If you want to block the competitions, you have to always think about, like, how you are going to play with the price. Yeah. When you play with the price, the competition cannot come and enter. They can't, come with a low price because of their production cost. Huh? So that's a strategy you have to always think about. Yeah. Maturity, large number of models, extensive margins, drop extensively. Sorry, distribution is extensive, right? Margins drop because you're born into many number of outlets, right? Uh, your margin is coming down because of the distribution cost. If it is FMCG, like, you have a shelf spare, space or share, which is more equivalent to your market share kind of a scenario. Advertising, it is like more stable advertising, right? Maturity stage is you are very stable and you don't want to be worried about your turnover, right? So mature market for you. Pricing, of course, since more number of people, you can reduce the price. By doing that, you will be able to uh, you know, keep your consumers with you, right? So that is the main objective, right? But during the maturity stage, also you can think about relaunches, repositioning, right? Um, the brand, right? You would have experience like if you take certain brands, right? Colgate, toothpaste, right? If you can recall how they have entered and what is the brand now they have, right? Even Coca-Cola, there are certain changes that happen to their brand. Yeah, certain changes, right? Take Kellogg's, right? Take even Kit Kat. There are many changes over a period of time because they know without changes they will not be able to sustain. They will not be able to sustain it. So therefore, they have to do changes to the brand with the time. With the time, some of the customers, we know this generation change, right? How they think, if you take Gen Zs and Generation Y, millennials, how they think and how Gen Zs are thinking, completely two different things. Yeah, even Alpha, the next generation, right? So they are thinking going to be same, totally different. Then your brand should also adapt according to the generational changes. Yeah, this is what how you always keep pace with the changes and be relevant to your consumers, right? Be relevant to your consumers. Okay, right. Next, declining stage. In this stage, certain brands, they what they do is they withdraw. This is a stage that you have to. It's a tricky stage. You have to make the right decision also during this stage. Why I am saying like that? So if the industry is declining, because of the industry uh, coming down, then you can also make that decision. Yes, I am going to withdraw. But the situation that industry is not coming down, you are coming down, then it's a bit tricky. If you make that decisions to withdraw from the market. Yeah, yeah. So this is where you have to always think about the BCG matrix. BCG matrix, where talks about market growth. The market is growing, you are declining, is a question mark. You have to think about as to how you are going to recover. Yeah. So these are the some of the actions you can take during the right. So read through the slides that I have shared, right, for these actions, right? How we do repositioning and all those things, explain. This is one thing, I explained at the beginning, different life cycles, this S life cycle is the usual one, right? This is what, most of the brands do have. However, there are more number of, life cycles. One could be uh, V shape, just go up, comes down, right? With the time, these kind of life cycles are you are coming to declining stage, then you're again going up, again coming down, like a wave, right? And this is, goes up and comes down. And this one, for this to come to the even maturity stage, there is no such maturity stage like continuously growing. Yeah, this is a normal S-curve kind of a life cycle. Yeah, right, right. So if you take why there is a life cycles, because consumers consumers and their behaviors, which is impacting this life cycle, which is causing these shapes, right? So consumers have been like segregated segment to five segments, right? There are five segments. Number one, innovators. Then the early adapters, early majority, late majority, and laggards. Right. Okay. So we'll take this the famous example, iPhone, right? For you to understand. So the innovators are the people like, they go behind innovations. They really, really go behind innovations. Yeah. When there is innovation, before it comes to the market, they place their orders, right? Maybe some of you would fall into this category. Yeah. When they announce like, next iPhone, you will place your orders, right? It's pre-booking, right? So for any market, there is a percentage of innovators, but generally about 2.5%. This is a standard deviation, right? Rather standard distribution, right? So 2.5% of innovators are there. But if you take like, iPhones or even Samsung Galaxy series, like, there is a higher percentage of innovators. Higher percentage of innovators because, um, you know, these people, these innovators, like, so they used to the brand, and they want to show everyone else, like, I am the one who, purchased this first. There's a bit of a, feeling like, especially with, consumers, these brand users, right? They want to show off, really want to show off, and, they grab this, opportunity before anyone else, right? Then there is a segment, they are called early adapters. They don't make like, pre-orders, right? That they don't do, right? However, once the product is launched, they go buy it, right? Right. By the time, like, the price is coming down slightly, they go. But innovators, they don't mind about the price. Whatever it is, like they want to say, I purchased this at this price. Right. So that's the biggest thing, right? This is how they boast, right? Yeah. So they want to say, like, they purchased when it was at the highest price. But early adopter is not like that. They are very sensible, making smart decisions, right? Early adopters. Then early majority is like, a bit of a large segment where, so they, you know, think about their old device and, setting it off and buying the new device, right? But they also won't like, they are not waiting that long, right? They, probably think about after the introductions of the iPhone X series, like, they maybe after 3 months of time, like, so they go by that. You understand? Yeah. So that is called early majority. Then the late majority, the people like, after maybe 6 months or so, they are making that decisions to, make the purchase, right? But they also want to, you know, use the previous device for a substantial time period. You understand, right? Previous device for a substantial time period. Yeah. But innovators doesn't matter, right? Quickly they will change. Yeah. Then the laggards, like, so laggards are the people like, so they always think about the price, always think about, how much of time that you have used the previous device, right? They want to get the maximum use of the product. So the laggards, right? When like, when you have more innovators and less percentage of laggards, meaning your life cycle is very much shorter. Product life cycle is very much short, right? On the other hand, when you have like no huge percentage of late majority and laggards, like no, you have a bit longer life cycle. Yeah. So you need to analyze your consumers and see like, in your consumer base, what segments that you have and what are the percentages. You can make decision based on what decisions that you are going to make during each stage of your life cycle, right? So this is what we call you are analyzing your consumers, right? Any questions, guys? So BCG matrix, I'm not going to go through this because we have discussed this extensively. You can go through and if there are any questions you can ask, like this is also a product portfolio decision that you are going to make using the BCG method. For your strategic decisions, you can, think about product life cycles and also the BCG metrics. Yeah. Okay. Any question? All right. Let me now move on to the pricing strategy. Right. Okay. So the pricing strategy. So we are in like, 4 Ps. We discussed product, right? That was the previous one. And we have to discuss about price, place, and promotions, right? So we'll not be able to cover the promotion part, right? But the place we'll cover, and also the consumer behaviors, consumer understanding we will cover, right? All right. So objective here is like, what is new product price strategies, how you are going to, price your new product, right? Uh, then product mix strategies, right? Describe the major strategies for pricing a new product, and also product mix pricing strategies. Explain how companies find set of prices that maximizes the profits from the total product mixed, right? So and the next one is public policy and marketing, which will cover this, right? Okay. So new product. So if you want to price a new product, you have to always think about your consumers, and also you have to think about your strategy, right? If you can remember, like, if your product is an existing product, right? Is an existing product to the existing market, you have to have a competitive pricing strategy or penetrated pricing strategy. Yeah. Meaning like, your prices should be lower than the competition. So some people, like, you would have seen, like, in supermarkets, introductory offers, yeah, some, like, price slashes, right? So those kind of things, mainly for these kind of, introductory products, because they want to grab the attention of consumers, right? They want to grab the attention of the consumers initially, and entice them with the price. Yeah, entice with them with the price. That's the easiest way. That's the easiest way. Like, you can entice consumers with the price, right? Any consumers, maybe, like, affluent, or maybe middle class, even the lower segment in the marketplace. Anyone can be influenced by the, especially by the, price. Yeah. Okay. Then, like, second thing is, like, you have to think about what segment of innovators and the early adapters that you have in your customer base, right? What segment of, what percentages that you have from innovators and the early adapters. Yeah. So based on that, you can make a decisions, like, whether you want a higher price when you are at the time of introducing the product, or is going to be at a strategic or competitive price. So, of course, like, when you are trying to set a price during the introductory stage, it's a bit tricky, because you are not sure of whether consumers are willing to pay that price. Yeah. Whether, like, they will get enticed by the price, right? So this is bit of a tricky thing. But for you to, overcome these situations, right? Yeah, we'll say you want to overcome the situations where, like, you're not sure of the price that you have set during the introductory stage. What sort of, actions, what sort of actions that you should, take? Yeah. We'll say, like, no, you are not sure of, you're absolutely not sure of, like, your price. Yeah. Not sure of your price. What sort of actions you should take? This is what you have to do, the market scanning. You have to do, a price research, right? Some people, what they do is, like, no, if it is not, will say, sure, right? You always set a lower price, right? You set a lower price. You understand? You set a lower price, then, price is low when the consumers are shifting to your product, you are increasing the price slowly. As a one big tricky actions, right? But if you, like, we'll say you set a higher price and calm down on your price, like, so this is not going to work, right? You understand? That will not work for you when you, like, reduce the price time to time. Yeah, which is not right at all. Yeah. So do this market scanning, do this market research. Maybe, like, you can do a test market. You understand, guys? You can do a test market. Meaning, like, so you set a price and, sell this product in a selected market, small market only. Yeah. Selected small market, you do this. You can do any changes to the price because it's a test market. You can fail, or you will get a lot of learnings before you go mass everywhere. Yeah, you can think about like, changing things like, in the test market and see. Yeah, right. Okay. When you introduce a new product, we'll say to a new market. So the existing market is very competitive, but new product to a new market, so you can think like, set in a higher skimming pricing. Yeah. Skimming pricing means like, we'll say a completely new market like space travel. Yeah. New product, right? New market, the affluents, like, they want to get the experience in the space. Go there, do some activities and come back like, whole new experience. You can, of course, always think about price skimming. Yeah. So they are willing to pay any amount, completely new market. Yeah. So this is the kind of market where like, you can earn super profit. You can earn super profit in this market. Then you set that skimming price, right? Or like, in a completely like, competitive market, penetration pricing, which we explained, right? Okay. So now you know about the skimming pricing, right? Penetration pricing. More in like, FMCG market, you see like, this penetration pricing strategy. Or in other word, competitive pricing strategy. You lower your price, or maybe like, you give price slashes, the promotions, so on and so forth. A lot of introductory offers, right? You are doing all these things because, so market is so competitive. You want to penetrate to the market and gain market share, right? Okay. Product mix pricing strategy. Product mix pricing. The strategy for setting a product's price often has to be changed when the product is part of a product mix, right? So this means like, you have a combinations of things in a product. Yeah, there are combinations of things, right? Maybe certain parts, right? So then you are not thinking about only one element, right? You have to think about all the elements in the product, right? All the elements in the products. In that situations, like, if you have some specialized feature in the product, you probably, set a higher price for that. Yeah. But for the core product, you don't like, set a higher price. Yeah. So the normal price that you set for the core product, but the rest of the items, you set a, bit of a higher price. Yeah. Right. So like, we'll say, for example, you have a mobile phone and the charger, the fast charger, something, you know, um, and the cost of productions of a fast charger would be lower, right? However, you are setting a higher price because person who has purchased the mobile phone has to, purchase a charger, right? The profit margin of the mobile phone is lower, whereas the profit margin of the charger is high. This is always the case. Okay, I have to stop the class now. Yeah, thanks, guys.